come in, please let me know if you can hear me. Are crazy people really crazy? Um, in the past few years, we've seen an uptick in a lot of mental illnesses or mental disorders, however you want to put it. Now, that can be because of food, that can be because of the different injections that we have to take, um, different things that are in our environment that may, affect us. But whether it's autism, learning disabilities, mental disorders, um, all of those things are just the fact that the brain is wired differently. Even drugs have the ability to reroute your brain, um, to make your brain take different nerve patterns. Um, they create new connections, um, and they alter existing connections, such as psychedelics, for example. When people are on psychedelics, they're creative. They see things they wouldn't see if they weren't on the psychedelic. Um, and they see things from a different viewpoint, from a different plane, from a different level, wherever that level may be. Um, so I said all of that to say that the spiritual realm is becoming even more intertwined with the physical. And with that being said, we're going to start to see things a little bit differently, or a lot differently. So typically people think of the higher level being the spiritual level and the lower level being the physical or the carnal level, right? So in essence, if you have all of these different people, whether it be, whatever is causing that mental change, or that mental path to change in thinking, whatever the case may be, the fact is we're here. There are more people that think differently now for whatever reason. They're just thinking on a different wavelength, and that could be because we're in a different era. We're just in a different plane, a different spiritual level, and things just have changed, just point blank. You can just see it in people's behavior, so as above, so below. And again, when you think about above or higher, you think about spiritual. When you pass away, you think about your spiritual self, your spiritual being. And when you're here, when you're below, you think of a carnal level, of a physical level. So as above, so below. But because the spiritual is becoming so much more intertwined now with the physical, you have the spiritual descending. All right. And I know a lot of people may not catch my drift, but I'm saying all of this to say that you're dealing with different people because we are dealing with a different point in time. We're in a different spiritual setting where people are going to ascend, and you have different spirits that are going to descend. All right. So whether you're dealing with a child that thinks differently, you're dealing with someone on drugs, whether that be on purpose or not on purpose, because a lot of us have been forced to take a lot of these things, whether it being during our childhood, and that was just the regular schedule that we had to do to get in school and all of that stuff. You have to think about all the things we've put into our bodies that have altered our brain patterns, that have altered our way of thinking. And some of it has actually dumbed us down, but some of it has actually opened up different wave lengths and different patterns of thinking as well, just like psychedelics do and other types of drugs do. Okay. Hey, Kenna, how are you today? So I'm gonna name a few names, and you all can tell me if any of these names are familiar, okay? Because I'm calling these names because people call these particular individuals crazy, all right? And I've just been really watching them, how they move and what they say. And a lot of what they say is actually true when you think about it. It's just that their delivery is unconventional. And so if you've heard of Unc 607, if you haven't, go and look him up. Smackwater, Orlando Brown, um, let's see, Jaguar Jaguar Wright, Old Dirty Bastard. He has since passed away, but you know, sometimes there's a lot of truth wrapped up into all of the craziness. All right. And then you have Charleston White. A lot of people don't like what he says, his delivery and things like that. But there's a lot of truth in what he's saying, even mixed up in the foolishness and the other, you know, buffoonery. There's truth in it. So I named all of those names just to say, you know, a lot of people may deem them crazy. A lot of people call Jim Carrey crazy. You know, a lot of people call Einstein crazy. And anytime you think out of the box, you think differently, that's what you're going to get, because you're not following the norm. You're not following the herd, okay? And I had to have an example of this when I came out of Christianity. Don't get me wrong, I still believe in Christ, but there's a difference because I came out of the modern church and the way that the modern church thinks. But when I did that, I got treated differently by people that were supposed to be very, very deep in church and deep in the Bible and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so I said, you know, okay, so we're reading the same Bible, right? You see what I see, but you're calling me crazy because I'm actually reading what I actually see. But because we have been so brainwashed just to think what other people tell us to think, you're calling me crazy because I'm just deviating from the herd. But this is what the book actually says. It's just that we never read it for ourselves. And so that woke me up a lot, you know, to the brainwashing that a lot of us undertake. All right, you're doing, I'm good, Kenna. Thank you for asking. So yeah, unfortunately, people will treat you differently when you start to think differently, and the issue is not so much thinking differently. The issue is when you start to share. So you have to be a brave soul to start to actually share your differences in thinking and your differences in opinions. Okay. So yeah, people talk about God and they talk about a higher power and being spiritual and stuff like that. But they think about it in this box of control. There's only a certain way you can think about a higher power. If you think anything outside of that, then you're a problem, okay? And some people even call it backsliding, or you're demonic, or you're practicing witchcraft, anything that goes against what people think as normal. And I'm going to say this also. So most inventors, explorers, teachers, people of a higher thinking, of greatness, and great minds just in general, are usually at first deemed as crazy, until whatever it is they're saying becomes accepted by the masses, or a lot of people start to actually use and practice what it is that they've said. You know, then they're not crazy anymore. All right, they were just the first. So most first are deemed crazy at first. So yeah, with that being said, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that I'm going to say that most crazy people are not actually crazy. They're just thinking on a different level. The brains work differently. All right. So that's all I have to say for today. I want to thank you all for joining in, and you be blessed. If you have anything to say about this particular topic today, please add it, and I will respond later.